Welcome. This is Mitch Argon, broker with Calneva Realty, and I'm going to take you through the Reno Tahoe real estate market as of March 26, 2020, here in just a moment. We've had a number of extraordinary events happening in our society since about the middle of March. So the numbers that I've prepared for the first half of this were put together before we had any indication of changes in our real estate market as it relates to the coronavirus. I'm going to address the coronavirus and some of the early indicators that we are seeing in the market after I go through the standard numbers I typically do on a monthly basis. So let's jump in. Again, this is pre any impact from coronavirus. In terms of median price compared February 2020 over February 2019, you can see we've had a range of price increases here. If we look at this on a 6-month rolling average basis, it flattens out or normalizes a little bit better, and you can see that we are running in the low to mid single digit range. And it varies by region, by each city or region, as you can see. On the home sold front, we have seen a pretty large increase up through February compared to the number of homes that were sold in February of 2019. You can see that these numbers, for the most part, are pretty hefty on the positive side. What that's done is that it's put pressure on the market by reducing inventory because we haven't had that many new listings coming on. And so over here on the month supply of inventory side, we've actually seen the markets retract back to favor a seller. The markets have tightened up, inventory is lower, demand is still high, and so as a result, you can see the month supply of inventory here has gone down in a meaningful way in most markets from March of 2019 to March of 2020. We saw this trend start in the fourth quarter. It was going away from a seller's market towards a more moderate seller's market. For example, you can see here Reno at 1.9, and now it's come back to 1.2. So the markets still remain tight for sellers, leading up to, of course, the significant changes we've had in our lives as a result of the coronavirus. So that information that I just went over was all prepared before there was any business shutdowns or social function shutdowns, at-home sheltering, and the likes that you see here throughout the state of Nevada. So I want to share with you some more current information that's more real-time as it relates to some of the very early indicators from the coronavirus on the real estate market. This chart here is produced not from our MLS per se, it's produced by a company called ShowingTime, which handles showing requests for residential real estate. And it's a statewide chart. It's not limited to just Northern Nevada, it's for the entire state. So it's going to have a lot of influence from Clark County, Las Vegas as well. And these two lines that you see here represent showing activity as a percentage from the first week of the year, positive or negative. And you can see that it runs for the most part positive. The blue line is 2019, the weekly average, and the gold line is 2020 weekly average. And of course, you can see these lines are going to be high and low and have some variance as you're moving through over time. But you'll see a significant trend that starts right here in around March 10th or so. And this is right around when we started to see announcements around shutdowns and closures and social distancing and those kinds of things happening in our society. If you follow this line down, you can see that it comes down here and it appears as though it's maybe trying to reach a bottom. It has come back up just a little bit. But the significance here is that the difference between this number here, which is last year's showing requests, and this year's showing requests on a week-by-week basis, is that it's down by 60% from the same time last year. So in simple terms, what that means is a year ago, for every 100 showing requests we had for a property to be seen, that has been reduced by 60%. So instead of 100 now, we're seeing about 40 now. So it's not down to zero, but it's down in a very meaningful way. Again, this is showing requests. It's not median price, and it's not sales volume. However, it makes sense if you think about it that the sales volume probably sometime around May will start to reflect this curve as well, and we will see at least a period of time, for as long as we are shut down, the sales volume down somewhere in the neighborhood of this 30 to 40% range, perhaps, of what it would have been in the prior year at that same month. I hope this is useful information for you, just to give you some insight into what's going on as a very early indicator on showings in the real estate market. Quick summary of these things. Again, modest median price growth, sales volume, of course, higher than 18, which we saw, and the month supply of inventory reversal. Those numbers that we're talking about there in this top section all deal with numbers that have no impact from the coronavirus. Other market factors, I'm going to start at the bottom here. The 2020 election cycle is something that I've been talking about for the last few months, is something that would have a material impact on people's ability or willingness to make big decisions. And that has gotten pushed down pretty far down the news cycle and pretty far down a major concern, I think, in our daily lives for now. So the big impact, obviously, is the coronavirus. As I said, requested showings are down. This shows 63%. You saw that little uptick that we had on that chart. It's actually 60% based on the most recent numbers. And again, that's statewide. We are taking a lot of precautions in our business, whether we're working with buyers or sellers. As you can see, showings are down. And we're also seeing some clients evaluating whether or not they want to list at this point, or whether they want to go into a wait and see mode. So vacant properties, vacant land, probably very little impact as it relates to the coronavirus, because the seller is not taking on any potential risk of somebody coming into their home who they don't know. And of course, if you're a buyer and you're going to a vacant home, you're not going into a home where somebody is living there on a day-by-day basis, so that also represents a lower risk. So we do have clients right now who are in a deferral mode before they're putting homes on the market, based on some of this activity that we're seeing in our society, and what we're seeing here on the chart, prior chart, with regard to showing requests being substantially lower, 60% lower approximately than what we had a year ago today. Interest rates came down, then back up. I think they will generally stay down just based on the economic uncertainty that we're working with. So that's certainly a factor, whether you're refinancing or purchasing a home. The stock market volatility has received a lot of press in the past. For example, in 2008, when we saw a lot of volatility in the stock market, we did see an increase in activity on real estate from the investor side, where people were looking to move their assets from the stock market and public equities into real estate for a little more control, maybe a near-term return in terms of cash flow, as well as potential appreciation. So it's probably too early to see just yet any implications from the stock market, but it has impacted the real estate market and people's ability to buy, and it's certainly a factor in our economy right now. Okay, again, my name is Mitch Argon. I'm the broker of Calneva Realty, and I hope this has been useful information for you. I'm going to try and do this report a little bit earlier next month, because I do want to keep more of a real-time update going with regards to the showing activity chart that I showed you. But I won't be back online with this until early in April, and we'll see how things look then in our real estate markets. Between now and then, if you have any questions, you can leave a comment below, or you can give a reply off of an email that you may have received to get a link to this video. Again, the charts and graphs that I've shared with you are from the Greater Reno Tahoe Real Estate Report, which we update on a monthly basis. And you can get the full report by clicking on the links right below your video right here on your YouTube page. Thank you for watching, and stay safe and have a very great day.